Henry Ford's life is a journey that shows us the power of vision, persistence, and belief in one's ideas even when the world doubts you. Born on July 30, 1863, on a farm in Greenfield Township, Michigan, Ford grew up in a simple household with limited means but limitless curiosity. His father, William Ford, expected him to take over the family farm, while his mother, Mary Ford, provided him with encouragement and nurturing love. But young Henry had no desire to spend his life behind a plow. He wanted machines, motion, and invention. Even as a boy, he would take apart watches just to see how they worked, then reassemble them with precision. His fascination with mechanics and how things functioned wasn't a passing interest, it was a calling. That calling would one day transform not just his own life but the way the entire world moved. Henry Ford's story is not about instant success. It is about facing rejection, financial ruin, skepticism, and resistance from almost every corner before achieving triumph. It is about a man who was often told his dreams were impossible, yet he persisted until he built not only one of the greatest companies in history but also redefined what industry and progress meant for humanity. As a young man, Ford left the farm and moved to Detroit to apprentice as a machinist. At only 16, he was already learning the trade that would become his life's work. The Industrial Revolution was in motion, and Detroit was alive with innovation, machines, and opportunity. Ford immersed himself in this world, working long hours while never losing sight of his dream, to build a machine that could move people more efficiently than horses ever could. At the time, automobiles were seen as toys for the rich, unreliable contraptions that most people considered impractical. But Henry Ford saw something different. He believed that if a car could be made affordable, reliable, and easy to use, it would change society forever. He wasn't just dreaming of making cars. He was dreaming of making cars for everyone. But dreams alone don't create revolutions. Ford would face setback after setback before his vision became reality. His first attempt came in 1899 when he founded the Detroit Automobile Company. Backed by investors, Ford thought he had the resources to succeed. But within a short time, the company collapsed. His investors grew frustrated with his obsession with perfecting his designs rather than rushing products to market. They wanted quick profits, but Ford wanted durability and affordability. The company shut down, leaving him with failure as his first lesson. Most men would have quit, accepted defeat, and moved on. But Henry Ford wasn't most men. Instead, he learned. He learned that investors who don't share your vision will drag you down. He learned that failure is not the end but the foundation for the next attempt. And he learned that persistence requires courage, the courage to start again. In 1901, he tried once more, this time forming the Henry Ford Company. But history repeated itself. His business partners again wanted to build expensive vehicles for wealthy buyers, while Ford insisted on making something the common man could own. Once again, conflict destroyed the venture, and Ford walked away. Twice a failure in business, many began calling him foolish. But the whispers of doubt didn't silence his determination. In fact, each failure sharpened his focus. In 1903, Ford tried again, founding the Ford Motor Company with the backing of a few investors, including the Dodge brothers. This time, he had learned from his mistakes. Instead of compromising, he pushed forward with his vision of creating a practical, affordable car. His first success came with the Model A, but it was the Model T released in 1908 that changed history. The Model T wasn't just a car, it was a revolution on wheels. Reliable, simple, and affordable, it became the car for the everyday American. People who never imagined owning an automobile suddenly found themselves behind the wheel. Ford had taken what was once a luxury and transformed it into a necessity. But what truly set Henry Ford apart was not just the invention of the Model T, it was the method he used to produce it. In 1913, he introduced the moving assembly line. This was a radical idea that cut production time drastically. What once took more than 12 hours to build now took only about 90 minutes. The efficiency of the assembly line allowed Ford to lower the cost of his cars, making them even more affordable for the average person. It was industrial genius, an idea that didn't just change the automobile industry but set the standard for mass production across the world. From household appliances to electronics, the assembly line became the foundation of modern manufacturing. Ford's vision wasn't just about business, It was about society. He wanted to improve the lives of ordinary workers, not just sell to them. In 1914, he shocked the world by introducing the $5 workday, doubling the wages of his employees while also reducing their working hours. Critics called him reckless, but Ford understood something they didn't. Better paid workers meant happier, more loyal employees who could also afford to buy the very cars they were building. It was a brilliant strategy that turned workers into customers, raised standards of living, and set new expectations for labor rights across industries. Yet Ford's journey was not without challenges and controversies. His stubbornness sometimes hurt his company, his resistance to change at times caused setbacks, and his personal views later in life drew criticism. But his legacy as an innovator, a pioneer, and a man who reshaped society is undeniable. He proved that you don't need to be born into wealth or privilege to change the world. All you need is a vision so strong that failure cannot shake it and the courage to keep moving forward when everything seems against you. Henry Ford's story teaches us that success is rarely a straight line. It is often a series of failures, each one shaping us, refining us, and preparing us for the ultimate breakthrough. He built more than a car company. He built a movement. He gave people freedom of movement, the power to travel farther, faster, and more efficiently than ever before. And in doing so, he transformed not just transportation but the very fabric of modern life. Today, when we look at the highways, cities, and global industries shaped by the automobile, we are reminded of one farm boy's dream that refused to die. Henry Ford's success story is proof that vision, persistence, and resilience can take you from humble beginnings to changing the course of history. And the greatest lesson he leaves behind is simple yet powerful. Never give up on your vision, no matter how many times you fail, no matter how loudly others say it can't be done. Because the world is changed not by those who accept limitations, but by those who dare to challenge them. Henry Ford's rise after the launch of the Model T was nothing short of extraordinary. The car was selling faster than he could produce it, and the demand grew so high that his factories had to expand constantly. But Ford was never satisfied with good. He wanted better, faster, and cheaper production. This relentless pursuit of efficiency led him to one of the most revolutionary ideas in history: the moving assembly line. Instead of workers moving around to build a car, the car itself moved down a line, and each worker performed one specific task. What once took more than half a day to build could now be finished in a fraction of the time. This idea didn't just transform the automobile industry. It became the foundation for modern manufacturing around the world. But Henry Ford's vision wasn't only about building cars. He believed that a business could only truly succeed if its workers also succeeded. In 1914, he shocked the world by announcing that Ford Motor Company would pay workers $5 a day, double the going wage, while also reducing the hours of the workday. Critics and competitors called him insane, saying he would bankrupt the company. But Ford's gamble paid off. His workers were not only more motivated and loyal, but they also had enough income to buy the very cars they were building. In one bold move, Ford created a cycle where workers became consumers, driving both his company's profits and America's growing middle class. Of course, success never comes without resistance. Other automakers mocked Ford at first, then tried to copy him. Investors doubted him, newspapers ridiculed him, and some even said his cars would never last. But Ford didn't listen to the noise. He listened to his vision. And that's one of the greatest lessons we can learn from him. True innovators are rarely understood in their own time. People may laugh at your dreams, call you foolish, or even try to tear you down. But if you hold on to your vision and push forward, you can change the very world that doubted you. By the 1920s, Ford had become more than a businessman. He was a symbol of progress, determination, and innovation. Millions of Model Ts filled the roads of America, giving ordinary families freedom of movement they had never known. For the first time, people could travel to new cities, visit relatives, explore opportunities, and live beyond the limits of their hometowns. Henry Ford didn't just build cars, he built freedom. And that is why his story still inspires us today.